All right, so today I want to go over a topic that you don't see a whole lot about, and that is the importance of time in between relationships. How long should you wait to go from one relationship to the next? So I'm just going to go over a few things, give you what my idea of how much time you should wait, and a couple of tips to make sure that maybe things don't repeat themselves. Now, if you have gotten out of a relationship and you get into a relationship too soon, one of the things that's likely to happen is you're not just going to recreate the same type of energy, you're not just going to have the same patterns repeat, but you may start to recognize in the new relationship what your role was or what your part was in the previous relationships. A lot of times people will not really take the time to recognize their part. And then when they recreate the situation in a new relationship, they have no choice but to say, oh, well, this has happened to me now 3 times. So I'm the common denominator. So this must be something that I'm not dealing with. So if you've gone too quick and played relationship hopscotch too quickly, you're likely to repeat the same cycle. And at which point, it might become painful too, because if you did not really reconcile what happened in the previous relationship and you all of a sudden have these realizations that you were part of the problem in a specific way, might actually make you feel bad about what you did to the previous person. Okay, so we all know that you get what you focus on, right? We get what we focus on. So when you get out of a relationship, most of the time you're going to go over and over the conversations in your head. Not always, but a lot, especially if it's a longer relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally normal, it's totally natural. It's pretty much impossible to not relive the relationship for some period of time in your head. And if you meet someone who says, oh, I didn't even have any problem getting over them, or I didn't even have to think about anything, it's likely that they're just hiding things. Now, when you're out of the relationship and you're in that process of reliving things and thinking and thinking and thinking about what happened, you're likely to attract the same type of person again. Now, I say you can use this to your advantage, and here's what I mean. If you have taken enough time or have enough self awareness, enough emotional intelligence to recognize the things where you went wrong at the beginning of the relationship, not so much the things that happen later on, but we all can look back on a relationship and think, I should have known. I should have known. It was dead obvious at the beginning that this was going to be a problem. Now, this may have been a repeating pattern. Maybe in the beginning of all your relationships, you have accepted the same red flags or made the same concessions about your own boundaries that maybe you shouldn't have made, and you just continue to repeat the problem. Before you get into the next relationship, use the fact that you're going to attract that same kind of energy to your advantage. You can practice saying no. You can practice saying no to the things that you have always said yes to in the past that have caused you problems. So, as an example, if you've had, if you have accepted somebody else's boundaries around friends of the opposite sex or time spent with their ex or anything like that, if you have accepted things that are over your boundaries at the beginning of a new relationship in the past, and now you're meeting new people that are presenting the same type of situation to you, you can practice saying, no, that's not really going to work for me. I like you, but no, I'm going to have to pass because I already know that this is going to become a problem for me later. Because generally speaking, at the beginning of relationships, a lot of times we will overlook certain things because we like that person. They're new. It's exciting, right? So maybe there's things about them that we kind of know won't work for us, but we're willing to overlook it to hopefully build the relationship. So during this period of time, while you are freshly out of a relationship and you're attracting that same type of person, that same type of energy, if you're smart enough, you can use that and interact with people and meet other people. And when it gets to the part where they're presenting the same thing that's been a problem for you in the past, you can practice saying no. That's going to do two things. Number one, that's going to build up your confidence that you can set healthy boundaries. And the second thing is, eventually, at some point, once the universe recognizes that you keep saying no to this thing over and over again, it might actually start to bring you what you really want. Now, the next thing that you want to have figured out is you need to take the part of the healing process where you look at what happened and you start assessing blame. You need to take that a little bit deeper. And here's what I mean. Let's say that part of the problem with the relationship was that they lied to you. Whoever they is, they lied to you. Now, it would be easy to just simply say, well, I'm no longer in that relationship because they lied to me. But that's kind of cheapening the process there. You're not getting deep enough, because if you are attracting people that are going to lie to you, you need to find out why before you get into the next relationship. Otherwise, you're going to continue to attract people that will lie to you. Now, this is not something that you can, generally speaking, it's difficult to tell if somebody is going to be honest or dishonest at the beginning of a relationship, because everybody is putting their best foot forward, right? You're sharing all these things about you, so it will give somebody who may be dishonest later in the relationship, it may make them appear to be more honest than they are. So the thing that you need to figure out is, okay, I've had 2-3 relationships and they've all been dishonest with me. So why is that? Now, one thing that I can tell you is, whatever reason the other party gave you for lying to you is likely to not be true. They probably lied about why they lied to you. Many times people will say, I lied to you because you did this, or you wanted this, or you expected this. They won't take responsibility for it. What you need to figure out is the real reason why they lied to you. What is the thing that you were doing, or you were saying, or you were expecting that is causing you to attract people that will lie? Now, this could be something that has to deal with you're not being quite as honest as you would want them to be. You can't judge somebody by a standard that you're not willing to keep for yourself. It could be that maybe the boundaries you're trying to set, are they too strict? Or are they not strict enough? Both things can be damaging. So you want to remove the emotion from the assessment portion of it and just forget about the part that they lied to you and you're upset that they lied. Forget about that part. What did they lie about? Why do you think that they lied? Don't listen to the words that they said. Think about the things that they lied to you about. Now, it may still end up being something that was a flaw in the other person. It may be that they just were very closed. They did not know how to have intimacy, and they lied to you about simple things. Okay, but if that's happened to you multiple times, now you need to focus in on, how do I attract somebody who wants the same level of intimacy and truth, rather than just placating yourself by saying, well, they lied. You need to figure out over the course of time, how do you attract somebody that actually is going to bring you the honesty that you want? And that takes time. Now, in terms of how long you should wait in between a relationship, there's no hard and fast rule. I kind of like to think of it as, for every year that you spent in the relationship, you want to at least take a month. Now, for some of you, that might seem like that's not enough time. And as you get, if you're in a 10-year relationship, 10 months to a year, is that enough time? It depends on how honest you're willing to be with yourself. Because again, we can easily blame and see what the other person's faults were in our eyes. For the most part, you don't want to take their word for it on what they said your faults were, because a lot of people say some pretty horrible things on their way out the door. You're going to want to take the time to sort through those things for yourself. If you were in a 1-year relationship, a month or 2 should about do it. A 5-year relationship, somewhere about 6 months should do it if you're spending the appropriate amount of time. Now, back to my original suggestion. If you are willing to still engage with members of the opposite sex and you are finding that you're attracting the same type of energy over and over again, and you are able to be strong enough to tell them no, that will expedite the process, because as you re-engage with that same energy again, you're just going to be so sick of it that you get to the point where you're like, okay, I have to find what it is about me that is attracting that. And that puts the onus on you. Instead of continuing to go over it in your head and blame them, if you shift the blame to yourself for attracting them in the first place, that will expedite the process. Now, the last thing is kind of tied into everything that I've talked about. And that is when you get to the very end and you feel like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to engage in another relationship. It's likely that you will have at least found some semblance of way that you want to change, whether you're going to want to adjust your boundaries to be less restrictive, more restrictive. If you want to be involved with things a little bit more with people, a little bit less, more intimacy, less intimacy, it's going to be different for everybody. It's very unlikely that you will find yourself ready for a new relationship and you're entering the marketplace thinking, I'm going to be exactly the way I was when I met the other person that I just lost. Generally speaking, you're going to have made some sort of change. Take your time then. Now, what I mean by that is it might take you, if you're in a 6-year relationship, it might take you 6 months to get to the point where you are really genuinely ready to re-engage. That doesn't mean shack up with the first person that you attract, okay? Take your time, because there still could be some residual things. Or if you're attempting to attract something that you've never had before, how sure are you that that's exactly what you want? You see what I mean? You may start attracting this new energy that you think you want, and once you start to engage with them, you might go, oh, this is not exactly the way I thought this was going to go either. So a month per year is a decent boundary to set, to say, I'll be ready 6 years, 6 months, just ready to re-engage, ready to see how does it feel to interact with the new type of energy that you're attracting. That's it for today. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment for the algorithm, and I will see you again in the next one.